back, everyone, to another episode of Spooky Japan Podcast. Hoping everyone is doing well today. Today we have a very special guest with us, Shawn Ellis. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you guys?
We're doing pretty good. And I don't know how it is over there, but here in Japan, it is hot and humid. So
It's
if
about
we look like we're suffering, it's because we are both hot.
it was about 85 here today, so it wasn't as bad as normal. It's supposed to get hot tomorrow.
It's in the 90s here with, I want to say, high 90 in humidity still.
Mm.
That same thing up there in Tokyo, Irene.
100.
Yeah, it is hot.
Can't open up the window anymore. No.
Well, last week we had 110 with the humidity, so it was pretty bad last week.
That's usually how it's been here lately.
Hello, Nikki.
Just hot. It's just hot.
It's just been unusually hot, yeah.
And at
So,
nighttime,
for our
it's still-
listeners out there who may not know who you are, how would you introduce yourself and where did your journey into the paranormal begin?
Well, my name is Shawn Ellis. I am the founder and owner of Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal, and I'm also the host of Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal. That we have a podcast every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, and I've got about 6 members on my team total. And my journey in the paranormal started when I was about 21. When I encountered my grandma walking into a church after she's passed away and sitting down next to me. And we had a discussion and she told me, don't worry about a thing. I'm going to make it. So that kind of started my journey right there.
And you said you started your own team, the External X Wolfpack, earlier this year?
January 1st, I started it.
Where has been your favorite place to investigate so far?
I've been to Bell Mansion. That was really interesting. That's in Indiana. I've been to Broadhead Manor 3 times already. I'll be going back here at the end of the month. Let's see. I've done a lot of residentials, so I've ran into more interesting residentials than I have business stuff so far.
I feel like that's always the case as the residentials get more interesting than the haunted locations booked for whatever reason's going on there.
Yeah, I definitely will agree with that. I mean, we've had some pretty interesting cases that we've had a young man pick up lawnmowers before and slam them down, not the whole lawnmower itself, but the front end of a lawnmower and slam it up and down a few times. And it was a pretty good sized lawnmower. Yeah, we've had some interesting stuff happen.
that takes a lot of energy to lift a lawnmower and slam it back down. You know that you got to have a lot of energy to do that because it's not an easy thing to do, and they're pretty heavy.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, at the time, the young man was like 12 years old, and me and one of my older teammates, we were up in another section of the building, and our teammate hollered at us, says, you need to come down here. And that young man was picking up the front end of that riding lawnmower like it was nothing. So, yeah. Hello, Pam.
Was it a possession or just attachment?
It was more of an attachment that night.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, even attachments for some odd reason give unworldly strength.
Most definitely. Most definitely. As soon as we walked into the building that night, my mentor is a Reiki master. And when we walked into the building, it had that feeling that was so heavy you could hardly breathe in it. So We
Wow.
definitely knew something interesting was in there. We just didn't know what, and we were monitoring some other stuff at the time. And she, like I said, she was in another part downstairs in the building, and hollered at us. And we come downstairs, and the young man was doing that, and took us about 45 minutes to get it out of him. But he was hissing, scratching, cussing, saying he was going to do some bad things and stuff. And we finally got it under control. So, but yeah, it took us a little bit.
Yeah.
I've heard of
You-
that thing, stuff like that happening during investigations. That's also why a lot of people say don't provoke them, just because someone I knew went on an investigation with a group. Someone from the group was provoking them, but they had like all the like the spirit, the protection stuff around them. So to them, they were like, "Oh, I can go ahead and provoke this thing. I'm safe."
Oh
But
God.
even if it can't get to you, it'll either find a way or get to someone else. Because
Yeah.
unfortunately, because that spirit for whatever reason could not get to that person,
Yeah.
it
Right,
scratched up someone else real badly to the point
Yeah.
they had to be dragged out of there and go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, and they're like, it wasn't even fair. It was, they weren't even the ones that were provoking this thing at all. It was
right,
someone else.
right. Yeah, I've seen people provoke him before, and it doesn't end up in a good situation at all.
No.
Uh,
I
it's not.
never under I never understood that thought process of, I'm going to go in there and provoke it. I'm like, what are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Because it's not going to end up being. I don't know why people think, oh, if I provoke this thing, I'm going to get more of a reaction, or I'm going to get more evidence. I'm like, it doesn't mean more evidence. It just means you pissed off whatever. It could have been friendly until you pissed it off, and you
Yeah.
still could have got evidence, but now it just wants to attack.
Oh, very, very true. We've been on a property before that there's probably 10 of us all together that night, and one of the guys were provoking a spirit in another location of the investigation. Ended up getting knocked down in the bathtub because that's where he's at. It was in the bathroom area, and yeah, it wasn't a pretty thing.
Well,
I
that
just
was you being lucky, right? That was being mild, getting knocked down in the bathroom,
Yeah,
right?
that could have been
Yeah.
mild.
well, the worst part that I've encountered with stuff like that is some of the people. If you have a low energy,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the attachments get to you.
Mm-hmm.
When you have high energy, they don't seem to want to attach to you at all. They don't want nothing to do with you. But if you got low
Mm-hmm.
energy, that's just marking your book right there.
Yeah. Or if you say something stupid, not just doing. If you say something stupid in the midst where they can hear you, right? Like they got better ears than you think they do. They do, and
Yeah, they hear everything.
yeah, it's just like what my mother said: be afraid of the dead because they can hear everything, they can see everything, they know everything what you're doing. It's not the living, it's the dead you should be afraid of, and be, you know,
I would
it's
definitely, I would definitely agree upon that since I've been in the paranormal field now. That I think I'd be more worried about the spirit than the person themselves now, as in the
yeah,
fact knowing what you
exactly,
can do after you pass away and the energy that you possess afterwards.
yep, exactly. That's why you always be respectful of the dead because
They know
yes,
more.
yeah, they see more. You don't think they do, but they do.
Yeah, they know more. They also know. They know you're coming before you even arrive, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I
One of
believe that.
one of the interesting things that I got verified for that answer for both of you when you said they know. A year ago last March, I had my girlfriend passed away,
Mhm.
and 3 days after the funeral, I seen her standing in my dining room, full apparition. She was standing there, and it just made me go down to my knees. Is in the fact of seeing her there in a full
Mhm.
apparition. And I looked at her. I said, "You have more power than you know what to do with now." And she just nodded her head. And I said, "You know a lot more than you ever thought." And she nodded her head. And I said, "You come back to check to make sure I was all right?" And she goes, "Yep." And she says, "I'm going to check." And then I said, "You're going to check on the rest of the people that you have been linked to." And she goes, nods her head. And I said, "You'll be back, won't you?" She nods her head again. And then all of a sudden she just leaves. And every day I feel her next to me all the time. When I go to make a decision, I'll feel her tapping on my shoulder on my right side or my left side once in a while. Or I'll be driving in the car. Hello, Tracy. Driving in the car, and one of her favorite songs would come on, and I actually see the energy ripple in the seat next to me. And the car has actually got that bounce. If you know, when you're riding in a car and somebody's shaking the car around a little bit, because she would kind of do that bebop and dance when she was in the car, and you can definitely tell she's there when that happens. So yeah, she confirmed a lot of things for me after she passed away.
Yeah.
I can feel her there too with you now, and I'm sure Irene can. But you also have another shy spirit with you.
Yeah, there's actually in my house, I have a little boy and a little girl, and 3 or 4 adults in here all the time. And the little kids would go up to my game room, and I have a collection of Matchbox cars hanging on the wall. They pull them off the wall. The ones they like, they pull them off the wall, and they just let them fall to the floor. My oldest daughter happened to be over here one time, and we were watching a pay-per-view, and all of a sudden stuff started falling off the wall. She's like, "Dad, in the closet, check the closet." And I was like, it's fine. I said, "They'll be fine." And she goes, "No, you need to check the closet." I said, "It's just a little boy and a little girl up here wanting to play. That's all they want to do." And it really kind of freaked her out. So, but yeah, I kind of got a mutual agreement with the ones that kind of stay here with me. As long as you're not causing havoc, you can stay. Otherwise, you could make your way across the street.
Exactly.
I had one like that with my previous house before I came to Japan. So I was in North Carolina in Charlotte, so which is right next to the border of South Carolina. So this was she was there basically because her family built that house, so she was just she was happy and content there. But she was the true definition of a Southern woman. As if you're trying to stereotype it, she pretty much was that, the tough ones. Like, you know what I mean? Like the tough granny from Beverly Hillbillies. Kind of like
Yeah.
that. And she was tough because she raised 4 sons, and I think she had mostly grandsons too. I mean, raising 4 boys as it is kind of makes you tough too. But she was that tough, I'm not taking crap kind of person. And originally, that house was not exactly what I was looking for. And people ask me why I move in. I'm like, because she chose me. I think it's because I also have, at the time, a young daughter, and she was excited to be, she was a grandmother, so she was excited. She's like, "Oh yeah, a little girl." She grandmothered my daughter, which I was fine with. But it's one of those things where we had the mutual understanding of she knows in the real world, and I'm not saying real world, but in the living world, it was my house.
Right.
In a spirit world, it was hers. So it's
Yeah.
like one of those, we knew of each other, but we didn't mess with each other. She
Right.
kind of like, stayed away and let us do our own thing. But it benefited me because anytime I'd go out and do investigations, nothing could follow me back into inside the house. Once I reached inside the house, she was not letting any other spirit inside that house. She literally chased me away. No, not my house. You're not. Chase them off. And I'm like, it benefited me because it also gave, she loves it. So that's also why she chose me. She loved it because tough old granny. So she just loved chasing those things off. And she would not let anything into that house spiritually if you did not have her permission. And if you're there for ill intentions, you're you're not gonna make it in there.
Right.
Once I left the house, though, I was on my own. So that's also why people had seen me run into the house after investigation. I'm like, oh, I could feel someone following me. But I knew as soon as I jumped through that door, she's like, nah, you're not coming into my house.
She
Yeah.
probably stood up with the pots and pans and said, "Get out of my house."
Yeah, basically, she's like, not my house.
I actually had one sneak into the house that I wasn't aware of. It took me about 3 days to figure out what it was.
Mm.
But during that time, it was here as causing chaos. I ended
Oh
up
dear.
losing my pickup truck. The rear end of it locked up and lost it as of the fact of it couldn't be refixed again. And then 2 days later, I lost my job at the time. And come to find out, it was a gin that followed me home from an investigation. And as soon as I figured out what it was, I encased him, put him away, and sent him on his merry way. But um, he just happened to sneak in at the time. And then since then, I've got a shield around the house, as in the fact of how my Reiki master has told me how to
Mm-hmm.
put a shield around the house to protect it all the time. So it's there constantly. And like I said, the good spirits that are here are more than welcome to stay, but the ones that sit here and cause chaos, they leave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to protect your home. It's very
Yeah.
important to make a ring around it, and so anything that you don't want it will not enter your domain, and unless you invite it, that's the only thing that, yeah. But you can't allow it in your environment, that environment, well, place, right?
Yeah, in your sanctuary.
Yeah, it's I can't even think the proper word. Jesus, Murphy. Oh well.
I hate it when that happens, when you forget the most basic world word and you're like,
Okay, need another cup of coffee. It might come to me, might not. Oh well, doesn't matter. Darn it. Ugh. But yeah, I mean,
She's
people
thinking
don't
about it.
people don't realize that if you go out and you do something, it can come latch onto you and piggyback onto you, and you really can't allow that to happen. And even though if you say you can't come with me, they will. They have a tendency to ignore you. It depends on what your energy is like, and like, oh yeah, I like that person. Like,
Yeah, considering what followed me home that time was a gin, and anybody that knows a gin, there's a few
they're
different
not like one.
types.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few different types, and this one just happened to be a kind of a chaotic one. And
oh
he
gosh.
didn't really attach to me; he just followed me. And I noticed when I was sitting looking at one of my doors is how I caught him, because I have wood grain doors in some of my rooms. Well, when I was looking at the wood grain door, the grain was shifting and changing in it constantly. It was moving in front of me. And I was like, I had to stop, look. I was like, wait a minute, I'm seeing things. And I was like, nope. And then
Mm-mm.
was shifting to another type picture. And then finally I realized it when I caught it in the other section of the house.
Mhm.
And like I said, I entrapped it and I got rid of it. And he's buried across the street in the yard. And
Mm.
there's a spot about that big. It grows a dead spot. They can't grow grass anymore because that's where he's buried at.
Mm.
So I encased him in salt and he's gone.
Yeah. Don't you just hate that when that happens to you?
Well, that was actually the first and only time I've had any of them actually follow me home. I've got some pretty good guardians that actually keep an eye on me. And
Mm-hmm.
at that time, like I said, I think he just kind of snuck through and
Yeah, but I mean, it occasionally happens. So.
yeah,
Yeah.
it did. But yeah.
It's like, yeah, I agree with you.
You still trying to think of it, Irene?
No, the little boy's talking to me.
Oh, I'm like, Irene's either thinking or listening or something.
Yeah, the little boy's talking to me right now. mm,
Yeah, he's quite the character, him and his little sister.
mm. You know how they died?
Um, I'm not sure exactly how they died. Um, I just know when I found them up there because I could sense them at the time, and they were taking stuff off the walls. I decided to put some toys up there so they could play with them themselves, so they'd have something to play with instead of pulling stuff off the walls. So that helped them a lot, and now I have a dog. And at 3 o'clock every morning, he wakes up constantly barking. And I think those two are sitting there kind of wanting to play. And I got him tethered to my wrist at night because he likes to chew on stuff. He's still kind of a pup.
Mm.
So he sits there and barks at them and growls at them all the time because I think they're wanting to play and they're just kind of sitting there tormenting him once in a while. But that's just the way it's going to be because until he stops chewing on things, he can't wander the house. So.
I see a house fire. So they died in a house fire, both of them. And it was an old wooden house. It was way before. It was way before. I feel 1800s.
Yeah, because this house is at least 1800s right now that I'm in. It's got
Yeah.
the old limestone block foundation and stuff in it still, and
I
that's a
think
and that's a conductor in itself, having the old limestone block in here with energy.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
there was a house before that. It burned down, and so that house that you're in now was built, and they're kind of like entrapped. They're entrapped in the house, and it's not that they can't leave. It's just they don't want to leave, or they
Yeah.
don't know how to leave.
Well, I've never really said that they had to leave and whatever. I just wanted to make them at ease that they could stay if they wanted to, etc. Because if they wanted to cross over, I definitely know how to cross them over, and they've never made it uh, a clear thing that they wanted to leave. So I just let them be until they decide when they want to go.
Yeah, they said they don't want to leave right not now, but they might later on if given the chance. They will.
Yeah, like I said, I know how to cross them over if they need to. So,
Yeah.
but I let them live and let them play and let them be
Mm-hmm.
kids, and
Yeah,
that's all you can do.
that's true. Um, what is the most terrifying place that you've ever been to?
Hmm. I can't say it was terrifying, but I will say it was the most intense place I've been to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I was on the previous team, another team called us because that team investigated a house that found half a body in it.
Oh God.
So they didn't know how to deal with it at the time. So they called the team that I used to be on to there, and we had a 12-hour investigation there. And there was 13 kids' spirits trapped in the house by another spirit. And once we got him corralled and taken care of, they actually walked past the REM pod, lit it off, and spoke their names. And the old team lead has those, but they said their names when they walked across after we got that bad spirit out of the house. Um, but we actually found um, some newspaper clippings of Charles Manson in the house
Oh
and
gosh.
John Wayne Gacy.
Mm.
Um, we also, my mom was watching the podcast that night, and a couple days later, she actually found an article that he was actually in the area. So, and I've also had it verified with a couple other people that Gacy was in the area as well because they painted one of my friend's dad's shops at the time in another town back in the day. So, and we found some other stuff that I can't even mention, but that was the most intense investigation I have ever been on.
What happened to the body? Was the police called?
Oh yeah, the body and stuff was taken before our team ever arrived there. It was on the news. I mean, you can look it up if you know where I live at. They had it on the news and they were talking about it, and then the other paranormal team got called in first. They went to investigate, and like I said, they said it was so heavy in there and they needed somebody else to help them out, so that's why we were called in with them, and then we joined forces and took care of that issue there. But yeah, that was the most intense investigation I've ever been on.
Imagine that, right? Oh my gosh.
And that's actually in the hometown I'm living in right now.
Oh my gosh. I bet
And,
that stuck with you for a little while.
and here's the weird thing about it. Back in '94, after I just got married and I got laid off, I moved in with my father-in-law. And the strange thing was, the house that we investigated, my father-in-law's house was just around the corner from it by 2 houses. Back in '94, and never realized it.
Oh my gosh. I bet your father was surprised.
Oh, he's passed away. My father-in-law's passed away since we've been there. But yeah, um, that house is very intense.
Is it still standing or is it gone?
Yes, it's still standing, and yes, there is people living there still.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Whenever they're experiencing anything
I
now.
wonder if, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
so far, neither team has been called back, so we think we've pretty much handled it with what we got. Because, like I said, there was 13 children's spirits that were trapped in that house.
oh gosh.
So, and it was also during the slave trade era too, during that time frame, and the tunnels and stuff. So, yeah, we think it was all linked to that and some of the stuff that happened. Because even over our equipment, we got like murder, rape, kill. We could hear it over our ears, our sensitive ears that we had, the speaker ears and stuff. And yeah, and after we finally freed that spirit and got the bad one out of there, those 13 left. So
That's the thing about certain places, that there will be a dominant one who holds other spirits hostage, and if you don't get rid of him, you can't cross over the rest of them, and that's the sad reality of it. And sometimes they can be really nasty. Sometimes they can say things that you don't want. I don't want to even talk about here. Like they'll say bleep 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 off to you. They'll be really belligerent, and yeah, they don't care.
well, the most interesting part was that happened was me. I'm actually classified as an empath and a clairvoyant,
Mm-hmm.
and there was another girl on the team that was the same as I
Mm-hmm.
was, and we could tell that it was bouncing between the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
We knew it was kind of following us around, and when we got to a certain location, and we got downstairs in this building, I actually walked up to her and I said, "Do you have any salt on you?" And I gave her all my crystals except for
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
And I backed up away from her. And then when I did it, I felt something come toward me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did, I took a circle of salt and wrapped it around me. So
Mm-hmm.
it was stuck with me in the salt.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And right before I did that, one of the old teammates I had said he felt something walk right through him toward me when that happened. So that's when I entrapped him and got rid of him at the time. So, but yeah.
Did he go out fighting, or was he
It drained me pretty good. He had a
Mm,
little bit of a fight on him. It drained me
yeah,
pretty good that night.
dang. Sometimes you just say, "Okay, I need to rest." Afterwards, like I can't.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
one thing we always say is if you don't investigate, you don't understand that the paranormal hangover is real.
Yep,
oh yeah, it definitely is.
it's
That
exhausting,
it was
especially. Yeah.
it was definitely draining that night. I probably had six Mountain Dews afterwards just to get some energy back going.
Like an IV. Give me a picker upper, right?
Pretty much, yeah,
Because you're
yeah.
either using your energy and putting it out there, or they're using your energy for themselves, or a mixture of both.
Hmm.
And I've tried to explain a paranormal hangover to someone who doesn't investigate, and they're just like, well, maybe you feel that way because you're walking around more. And I'm like, I don't, this is how, we're not consistently walking the whole entire investigation. It's a lot of waiting around to see if
Yeah.
something responds to you.
Right, definitely true. One of the things that helps me more since that investigation is I've had my Menaki rights, and that's 9 rights that grounds me to everything around me. So that
Oh.
helps me convert bad energy into good energy as well, and pull from other things. So
Mhm.
that's also a good thing that I'm capable of doing that some people can't do.
Yeah. Um, Sometimes I do a house and I'm sitting there and I go, "Okay, I'm done." 6 hours later, I'm saying, "Can you make supper for me? Because I can't do it." Like, mm, like,
Luckily, I told Irene, I'm like, you also live across the street from 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven here in Japan, it's not like in America. 7-Eleven has some restaurant quality food they
mm,
sell compared
That's
yeah,
good.
to, yeah, actually everyone loves convenience stores because it's actually legit good food. It's restaurant quality. You're not, more likely you're not going to get sick over it
no.
compared to America where it's, you'd know how sketchy
Mhm.
gas
Oh
station
yeah.
food is. It's not,
Oh
it's
yeah.
not there.
Mhm.
And
You
I really
definitely
will
want to
tell
think twice
you,
about eating gas station food once in a while.
I live right around the corner of a convenience store. Like, you just walk out the front door, turn right, and there it is.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Konbini, they're called konbinis over here. If you don't know that, then obviously that doesn't make sense when I say konbini. I can't say konbinis here different because if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're like, what is that? Convenience stores.
Right.
It's just, yeah, it's something easy to do. Like, get a bowl of noodles and just.
Oh, convenience stores here are pretty, they're also pretty famous for having egg salad sandwiches, which I know doesn't sound like a big deal, but somehow they are so delicious here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I'm glad they taste good over there because I would not eat an egg sandwich out of a gas station in America.
No, I wouldn't eat it over there either because more likely you will be getting sick.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's probably been sitting there for a little bit, honestly. But yeah,
Here, they only allow them on a certain time limit. So if it's beyond that time, then they get pulled and they get thrown in the garbage.
it's what it should be. Yeah,
It's for
Should
safety
be
reasons.
doesn't mean back in America it's not that way though.
Yeah, I know.
right.
They'll keep it out there until it sells.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do some pretty shady stuff over here in general, as it is. So yeah,
I think because it's hot, it's a humid country, and everything spoils really easily. Right, Amanda?
Hmm.
Like, yeah, you can't, like, ugh. Even meat is not left on the shelf. It gets discounted really quickly. Like,
Hmm.
they won't leave it on the shelf because it starts turning color.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure.
Like, even refrigerated, it just, yeah, things change colors in this country. You can't even leave bread out. I mean, that's how bad it is. Mm-mm.
Well, I used to work in a meat factory, so I've seen that firsthand. So I know what's being done to it. Trust me.
My brother used to work for ConAgra Food, so and he's like, if you saw what went into a hot dog, you would never eat a hot dog ever again in your life.
I definitely agree with him. I definitely agree with him. Most definitely.
Oh, you'd like our hot dogs here. It's more like European dogs, so they're like bratwursts, and you get a lot of different kind of. It's European flavor, and it's just totally different. It
I've
is
not
really.
seen a hot dog here, but I live in Nagasaki, down here towards the south of the islands, and it's more country here. It's considered country here. It's considered more small towns here compared to Irene, who
Mhm,
lives in the middle of the island in Tokyo, and
mhm.
that's like the one, either one of, if not the biggest city in the world. So I'm like, yeah, it's totally different. That's why we always say down my part of Japan compared to hers, because it's like consider country town compared to New York City, basically.
Mhm.
She's obviously gonna have a lot more stuff than I would.
And it's really haunted here. Like you get the spirits are totally different where she is and where I live.
Then up north,
Her,
they're completely different too. Up north, they have their own thing going on, which is
yeah,
I don't know what it is about the north, but I feel like the north has weirder spirits and just weirder things in general.
they're kind of like how do you explain it? They're kind of like spooky, weird in a way, in a sense, because you can. There's a place where you can go to that you can see your. You can speak to your dead ancestors or your dead mother, your dead father, like, ugh, and it's like a river where there's a whole bunch of rocks where it's supposed to depict the same route that you go to heaven, and so there's a temple there where you can speak to um an a clairvoyant master, and she'll call your relatives down, and you can speak to them directly. It's just yeah, it's kind of like creepy.
Interesting.
It's a
That's
creepy
interesting.
place. Yeah, it's really creepy. Like, yeah. Then a lot of people do that because they want to talk to their dead relatives, and yeah.
Have either one of you been in your Akashic records for your past lives?
No.
No.
Mm-mm. I
I've
know
seen
that I was reincarnated so many times that you wouldn't believe it. Like, yeah, I know
I've seen
that.
it. I've seen a few of my past lives. It's pretty interesting. I've had Akashic records opened up for me and went down there, and I've seen some pretty interesting stuff. So
Here, you'll be reincarnated over and over until you get it right. So that's what they believe here. Yeah, and
That's a theory here, though. Yeah, that's what I tell people. I'm like, it's just theories. We report theories and conspiracy theories. Doesn't mean we believe in them, but they're out there.
yeah, here in my area, it's more. I hate to say that word, but people unalive themselves more in this area than her area. It's more like a sad. If you know the history of Nagasaki, yeah,
Yeah, well, obviously, I'm like just a couple hours to the right of me is the Nagasaki bombing site, and then about 5 hours north of me is according to GPS, 5 hour north of me is the Hiroshima bombing. So that's also the theory is with those two bombings it created more cryptids here in Japan.
yeah,
And there is more cryptids here than there is
mm,
in Tokyo, so that's also
yeah,
why they think it's the radiation from them. But
yeah,
that's their best guess. As I say this, because we don't have any Bigfoot researchers or any cryptid researchers, and we keep encouraging anyone who is a cryptid researcher or a Bigfoot researcher, come to Japan because no one is going to compete with you for any research. So any information you find is going to be new and groundbreaking, no matter how small it is, because no one else wants to do it here.
yeah.
And I'm like,
wow,
we have thousands of cryptids here, but no one wants to take the time to try and research them.
wow, that's interesting.
It's
It's
all
like,
amount of
no,
money.
Well, yeah,
Like,
I mean, obviously the Bigfoot researchers in America don't get money for that either, but that's it's one of those things where the paranormal is not really big here in Japan.
no.
That includes like cryptozoology, which is weird.
Mm,
Like I said, it's weird because we there's thousands of cryptids here, but they leave them alone. They don't want to research them. It's like
No,
no, there's
nobody's curious at all to figure out what they are then at all.
mm, like for this country thinking like cryptids, they'll always respect them. They know they're there. Spirits are the same way. They know they're there. This is my side of the road. I walk this way. You walk on your side of the road. As long as you don't bother me, I won't bother you.
that's
Hmm.
how shadow figures are here too. Is they have their own little space. They're just like, if you have to walk here at night, walk across the street because this is my little area. Which I don't know why they. There's not really any rhyme or reason to why they claim little areas. It's where they decided to settle down and be. Like, this is my little area. Walk on the other side. You walk on the other side. Leave me alone. I'll leave you alone. You mess with me, I will prove to you that I can mess with you more. And I'm like, I'm not crossing your boundaries. You don't have to warn me. I
Yeah.
will leave you alone. You want me to leave you alone?
Hmm.
I'll leave you alone.
There are more shadow figures on her side than on my side. So, and they'll let you know that they're there. Like, they'll stand in front of you and say, ha ha ha, what are you going to do about it? You say, okay.
So, my question to you guys is because I've heard a few different theories on shadow people that some could be a future image of you, a doppelganger of you, or the fact of somebody from the future, or something being guarded by something. What's your theories on that?
Mm,
Here, I mean, the shadow figures are different here, though.
yeah.
So I can't really. Here, they will. Compared to America, I've seen shadow figures, but it's one of those things where you kind of were caught on camera or verified on camera because they're in and out, and one of those things that might have looked at you and kind of darted off. Here in Japan, they have no problem with standing and staring at you.
Mhm.
And I remember the first time I saw it was I
Hmm.
thought I was going crazy because I'm not used to shadow figures just standing and staring at me. I'm like, is this
Mhm.
really happening? But I
Yeah.
had my dog with me. I had my dog with me at the time, and my dog, she just turned 2 years old at the time, so she still had that puppy kind of mentality a little bit, and she also was reacting to the shadow figure as she does anytime she sees a person, where she has to go sniff, she has to go investigate them, she has to try and
Right.
see if they want to pet her, because she's one of those dogs who assumes everyone's put on earth to pet her. So she was reacting to it like she saw a person. I'm like, okay, my dog sees this thing that was
Yeah.
there.
On my side, uh, in fact, he was killed in front of where the convenience store now exists. He was murdered, killed, and left in the ditch to die in this field. And he came out. He created car accidents. Unfortunately, in July last year, a guy on his bicycle was killed instantly when he was hit by a car, and he created that. I know that
Wow.
because right after when the accident was cleared up, it was like almost like when the sun went down. I went outside and I saw him standing there sneering at me, go, "You can't touch me. I know you. I can see you." I said, "Yeah, I can see you too, and you can't touch me either." And I shot up a whole bunch of pictures with my phone, and he was so creepy. It made the hair on your back stand up like zoom, and the hair on your arms just went, and it just gave you the ooh, like that shivers
Hmm.
down back on your back. And then he said, "I'm gonna get the next person." I said, "Oh no, you're not. You're not gonna get the next person. I'm gonna get rid of you." And he says, "Ha! I dare you!" Like, really, he was really challenging me. So I went back to my home and I called my friend and I asked her, "Can you help me get rid of him?" He goes, "Sure, okay, we'll get rid of him." We got rid of him. he sometimes he has his own little portal. He comes back in and out, but he doesn't create accidents anymore because before that, my husband got into a car accident, and he was walking across the street, and this old lady in her car. She was this 80-year-old lady who had a driver's license revoked afterwards. But yeah, she hit my husband, and I said, "There's something weird about that area," and I didn't realize it. But yeah, I found that guy, and he was all dark. He had no face. He had no. He was just an entity, and yeah, he was angry because somebody killed him. But yeah, he decided to hurt everybody else because he was killed.
Yeah, sometimes when people die in anger, they stay that way. So
Yeah, he was
it's
Yeah.
very possible.
he was one crazy creature, that's for sure. But thank God that's that street is safe now, and you can walk across the street. And I still feel his energy, but I don't feel it like I used to. And it's a lot better now. And I bet that wasn't the only car accident. I bet there are way more afterwards, right? So I think it was
Alrighty.
really. I think he's not the only one, and and I keep my mouth shut about it because I don't tell anybody because I know what happened. Like, mm-mm. In here, Amanda will tell you that you don't tell anybody. What you just you just don't. Like, I don't want to
As
be.
as
Go ahead.
someone else explained here in Japan, it's also another local to Japan. They said that the reason why the Japanese don't really believe into the paranormal or their view of the paranormal compared to maybe other places because it's not like it's like we were saying it's not really big here, and they said it's because Japan is more superstitious than they are religious. They
Yep.
don't really have there's no paranormal teams here. That's the first thing I learned when I got here because it's the first thing I want to do when I got to Japan is I want to get involved with the Japanese paranormal community.
Yeah.
Irene's laughing because I searched hard and I could not find anything, and it's because there's no teams here. There's no one you can call for
Wow.
help. So if you
Nope.
have a haunting, you're on your own. That's why a lot of places end up abandoned because the Japanese how they handle the paranormal is they don't know what to do if they anger ghosts. So their whole thought process is if I board up the place that's haunted, no one can go in and make this thing more angry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you either like I lived in a haunted condo, right, for 20 years. Okay, I reached out to everybody. Nobody wanted to help me. So you know what I did? We sold the place, and I picked up and I left. That's why I live in this house now. Yeah, it was that bad. And mind you, 144 suite condo. I don't know how you begin to even cleanse a damn place, right? Yeah, it's like half the people believe it and half the people don't. And yeah, everyone's going at each other like, "Arr, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you," like they're at each other's necks. They don't know why, and I said, yeah, I know why. Yeah, it was like hell on earth. And I said I wouldn't even want even my worst enemies to live there. So we picked up and we left. And he said,
Wow.
bye bye. That's what I said. And I left half of my stuff there because I said, I don't want to bring my curtains here. I don't want to have that thing. Well,
So basically over there, if you have issues whatsoever, you like you said, you're completely on your own or you got to
yep,
learn about it to take care of
yep,
it.
yep.
But
And
unfortunately, there's nowhere in Japan for you to learn about it. I mean, you only have internet, and I mean, you know, the internet is not a reliable source to learn about the paranormal, how to handle it, just because kind of people put out there whatever information they want online. So
yeah,
online should definitely, especially over here. And I always tell people this because I live over here and I see what they're seeing video wise about paranormal, what they're getting over here from the States or even the UK. what they're seeing paranormal wise is the ones that are clear. I don't even know why this is bigger out here, but what they're seeing out here is the ones that are clearly faked, where you can see the string being moved. You know what I'm talking about, where people obviously made it
Right.
for the use, and you can tell.
Right.
You being an actual paranormal investigator, you'd be like, that's clearly fake. I can see how this is fake. This is unfortunately, that's what's getting out here for them to see. So that's also why I think the younger generation believe in it less than the older generation, because they're just like, yeah, okay, there's a string. So they don't take
They
ghosts
don't
or the
take it
paranormal
seriously.
as seriously. I mean, why should they? Because
Yeah.
if this is what they're seeing,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah. Now you tell people that, yeah, unfortunately, this is what they're mostly seeing.
Yeah.
So to answer this, we said this right before, Randy. Japan has at least 1,000 cryptids, right? I mean, at least 1,000, or if not more.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's old, there's a lot of theories. A lot of them are mostly unknown. We don't have any Bigfoot researchers out here to learn about them, so it's kind of what everyone's best guess was when they first saw it, because people leave them alone. This is one of those things where if the cryptid is not friendly, what do? They don't know. We do have our own. We do have our own Bigfoot, but he's more gorilla looking, and he's only like 5 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
Which we had someone else who's a Bigfoot researcher on the show said that sounds like an adolescent. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's only been seen 5 foot tall, so I don't know if that's actually an adolescent or if
Mm-hmm.
that's how big they are. The one here, if that's the adult size of it, we
Mm-hmm.
don't know. And I'm like, what? You should get your team of people to come over here and try and figure out if it's an adult or adolescent, because it's only been seen as 5 foot tall.
Some
We
cryptids
do have
here.
we have our own version of a dog man.
Yeah.
I forgot, it was kind of like a werewolf thing though too. One of the more werewolf and one of the more the
Mm-hmm.
wolf looking beast kind of thing.
A lot of cryptids here. You don't want them. It's kind of like more of an urban legend. Like you, it's how you live in your home. Like if you don't clean your home, if you do certain things that you will invite them in your home. So you don't want them there. So what you do is you keep your place clean. You keep your umbrellas folded up and put in your entrance. You don't you don't do certain things in your home that will invite cryptids in your home. So it's a very it's almost like a strict way of living. So you have to it's more like a superstitious strict way of living, so you don't invite them in your home, because when you do, they're hard to get rid of. And you just try to maintain your house and your family so that you live this be by these certain like rules, and they're a mile long. Like you don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, and yeah, you'll be safe. it's it's just yeah, superstition and what would you call it? Urban legends go together hand in hand in this country.
Our
Even the le-
Bigfoot had a so the Boy Scouts here, whatever the Boy Scout version of Japan is,
Mhm,
they actually found a Bigfoot footprints, and it measured to be 10 inches long, 6 inches
mhm,
wide.
yeah.
Why they call it the Japanese Bigfoot.
Mhm,
Hmm.
But they
Interesting.
also their a lot of their how they handle an angry spirit is they'll put up a shrine.
mhm,
There is a shrine around in Tokyo
mhm,
where it was built a long time ago. It was to appease an angry spirit of a samurai who was beheaded, and he was famous because a lot of people thought they saw his head, as the urban legend goes. So originally they brought the head from Tokyo to Kyoto, which I believe back then was the capital of Japan. They
mhm,
had his head on display as a warning. Don't mess with the what is the ruler of Japan called? I don't know. Is it
Hmm?
I want to say emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Emperor, yeah. So
Shogun.
he wanted
They had
he
Shogun.
tried to overthrow the emperor. So after he was beheaded, they had it on display as a warning. This is why you don't go against the emperor.
Yeah.
Somehow it had ended up from Kyoto back to Tokyo. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people thought, as people said, they they saw his head flying back to Tokyo. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
he's the famous flying head of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Wow.
came back. Bad luck happened around the area where he was killed. So what they did was they built a shrine to him to appease him. And
Mm-hmm.
back then, I don't think it was really that much of a big area, so that it's easily able to do. Well, nowadays, it's in somewhere downtown Tokyo, so it's in prime real estate.
Mm-hmm.
They tried taking it down. They tried taking down the shrine to build office buildings, but they ended up rebuilding the shrine because they said as soon as they started tearing it down, everyone who was either working on it or part of the project ended up having really bad luck. So they
Mm-hmm.
thought it was him coming back angry. So they just rebuilt the shrine, and they're like, "We just whatever, we'll move on. We're not gonna mess with it." That's their. But yeah, there's like Irene said before. She's tried calling people. You can't really find anyone here to help you. So they just rebuilt
No.
the shrine, and they
Yeah.
called it good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
We're
mean, you could have they could actually have that respectively, go in and have a shogun or a samurai that's go in there and do that ritual respectively and take that out of there, and there shouldn't be a problem.
uh good luck in finding someone that will help you. Like, that's not gonna happen.
We don't
Um,
really have anything. We don't have anything
no,
equivalent to like demonologist or anything out here. So
no, no. Um,
Oh,
I have a shrine that I go to get cleansed because stuff that I do, yeah, I have to get cleansed every year. Let's put it that way. Because I deal with a lot of dark things and I deal with a lot of spirits too. My case, but yeah, the shrine that I go to was built because they had the most sword fighting. It was the most bloodiest battles that they had there. So they built this huge shrine, and it's beautiful. It's great. It's you feel serene. You feel at peace. But just what this side is the ocean. This side is the mountain. So if you go to the ocean side, you can take certain pictures and you can see certain faces and like they're like this part is there and this part is missing because they're cut in half right from some of the sword. And just recently they unearthed in the sand a whole bunch of heads and a whole bunch of bodies of samurai warriors that were killed in the battle on the beaches. And it's not too far from where we go swimming too in that ocean. So yeah, and that's the most haunted area of that part of Japan. It's a little bit west to us, and yeah, it's freaky, creepy. And we just went with our friend up the little hill, and we found a cave that 806 samurai warriors unalived themselves in this cave. But you can't get in the cave because they said falling rocks will hit you on the head and you'll be injured. They said, nah, that's not true. Do you think that'll happen? They're just trying to do that just to prevent you from going in the cave because they don't know what's going to happen to you if you're dumb, stupid explorer, that you're not grounded, and yeah, stuff can happen to you, right? So
right.
they fenced it all off. But I took a lot of still photos and I said, man, you can see the cave, you can see the energy, and their faces are embedded in the trees, in the soil of the cave. It's the most creepiest feeling you've ever had. And there are houses going up to that area, but there's nothing there. It's just desolate, dark, cold, creepy all around. But yeah, it's all in that one area. And that whole area is just haunted. Like, even if you sit in a hotel room, you're lucky if you don't get bothered at night by a spirit that
Um,
says hi, and I go, "What do you want?" Like, yeah, just leave me alone. Bye bye. Yeah, yeah. It's just really. It's an old area. It's beautiful. It's full of um, souvenir shops and stuff like that. It's a really pretty place to visit. It's hot. It's humid because it's next to the ocean. But yeah, you don't know what you'll find on the beaches too.
well, you got water there. That's a conductor of energy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Yeah.
anything's possible with that. And some of those temples they probably made out of limestone and rock of some type. So and marble, which is
Yeah.
also a conductor. So yeah, spirits could be anywhere.
It's just really. It's if you don't think about it, there's a lot of creepy things when you walk around that area. If you're not used to it, if you're not an empath, you won't feel it. But if you are, you'll feel it. Like, yeah, you can feel it, and it hits you right here, like it's in your face, right? And it's just ooh. But yeah, okay. I try not to think about it. That's why I don't go out of my house. That's why I don't leave my house because there's other things I can see, and you don't have to see anything haunted. Like Amanda feels the same way. You just leave your house, and there you go. That's haunted. That's haunted. That's haunted. For her, the same way. That's haunted. That's haunted. That's haunted. Or for instance, she has to walk her dog, so she has to leave her place. But me, I don't want to go outside. Nope.
Hmm.
Irene,
It,
have you ever seen Baku? That's a cat spirit.
mm-mm.
But there's also, have you seen the Abura? How do you say this? Abura Chicago?
Ikuga, Ikuga.
No, 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 no.
It is the, you know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
So it travels like a ball of fire
Mm-hmm.
into people's houses, but then it takes the form of a child and it drinks the oil out of the lamps or
It's
lanterns.
called
I mean, obviously
Hinata machine.
we
It's
don't
called
have those.
Hinata.
We don't have those same kind of lamps now. Obviously, with the modern
No,
technologies, we don't have to have the lamps with oil.
it's
Yeah, I know
Hinata machine.
Bakus
It's called.
are attracted to lamps with oil just because I know back then the oil was made from like fish oil. So, and the
Mm-hmm.
diet of cats back then were not, they didn't give them a lot of protein. So when the cat smelled like the fish from the oil, they'd start
Mm-hmm.
drinking the oil, which led to them believing a lot of them were cat spirits in disguise. There is actually here in Japan, there is more, and I've looked this up because there is more stray. You see a lot of stray cat, wild cats, whatever you want to call it, out here
Mm-hmm.
in Japan.
Yeah.
Than and they even said it. There is more stray cats in Japan than there are people 16 and under.
Yeah.
So there's a
Wow.
lot. It's definitely a problem here.
Yeah. I
But
don't see a
I
lot
don't know
of
if
it
I've
here.
actually seen. I think I've seen a lot of cats, but I don't think anything that would be considered a cat spirit.
They have a temple just in the mountains where it's called Nico Shrine, and they pay homage to the cat. And they pay homage to the to the monkeys. So yeah, and they have a lot of cats running around there. So they live there, and the monks feed the cats, and they take care of them. So
However, they do believe that every cat has the possibility to turn into Bakaneko cat spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is that belief that every cat has the ability to turn into that. That's also why back then it was believed the longer the cat tail,
Mm-hmm.
the more powerful it was as a cat spirit. So that's also why most cats are now have the bobtail because they cut off the tail to prevent it from being like this powerful and turn into the Pakaneko.
Mm-hmm. It's called Mike Nickel, which means the tails are really short. It's called Japanese bobcat. That's what it's called, and they're
Huh.
kind of curled at the end, and they're really short. Um, they're very rare to find because most of them are mostly females. You find very rare. You find a male cat. So, yeah.
Well, I know in witchcraft that the cats are used to absorb bad energy by the
Mm-hmm.
witches, along
Mm-hmm.
with the fact that the purring is supposed to be able to cure you or heal you as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. I have a couple of them. I have three cats in my house. One protects me, and the other one, well, they just being a pain in the butt. So, yeah, but cats are very treasured in this country.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have Manakiniko. There's one cat with a paw going up. You use them as good luck charms to bring money in your house, and they usually have a
Yeah,
big
it's
horn.
there's I forgot which one is which, but I know if it's like it's one of those. I what is it, Irene? If it's going to if it hands up to the left, it's for a business to attract money. If it's to the
Mm.
right, it's for a personal to bring money into your life. So
And if it's both, gotta be careful because it could be greedy.
Uh,
So you don't. So you either have one or the other one.
yeah, there's statues. Obviously, that's always one or the other doing paw up because it's calling in money.
right.
Just
Yeah,
depends. Whatever side you get is if you're trying to do it for your business or for your personal life.
yeah. And I always have one in the entrance of my door. So where I have the place where I put my shoes, and it always sits up in the entrance of my hall. When you come in the door, you can see the cat going like this. And for business, you have a tanuki, which is a raccoon dog, and he's just a big belly, right? And he brings wealth to the house too. So they use certain animals to bring happiness, wealth, money, and what else? What else? What else? Fortune? Something else. And
Didn't
wellness.
didn't the Maltese have anything to do with that as well? The Maltese being able to bring fortune and stuff to their masters.
I don't know about that. Do you know? I don't
We
know
do
about.
now. The other thing that we have is the Inugami, which is the dog spirit, but unfortunately, they were sold. They were Inugamis were made. You had to have like a power source order to make one, and it's one of those things where it's um it's not a very pleasant ritual,
No.
but it's basically like a dog head with a spirit body, I guess, kind of,
Hmm.
Hmm.
where
They
they
have.
serve one family for all eternity. But people who were said to have one back in the day were shunned out of the community because
Hmm.
you could actually have it to go seek vengeance for you. Like if you're pissed off at someone,
Yeah.
you had your own Inugami, you can
Yeah.
seek it, you can make it go after someone. That's why they were shunned from the community.
Hmm.
They're
So
Interesting.
basically did
more.
your bidding.
They're more in Okinawa. It's called Caesar. They have everyone has one on their house. So it's like on the roof of their house. They protect the house. It's either you have one on the left side, one on the right side. So if you come into your home, they protect your home from any evil or for any negative energy. They protect your house, and Yeah, it's like the old style. You very find it. It's really rare finding it here around our area, isn't it, Amanda? Not even in your area in Nagasaki, I don't think you'll
So,
find it. Even in Tokyo, you'll never find it, but you'll find it more in Okinawa and little islands who use them to protect their their. It's almost like a sealant or protection thing that they use in their home, outside of the home, so nothing, no negative energy shall enter their home. That's what they use it for. It's really rare. It's almost like it almost looks like a dragon face of a dragon, but the from here down it looks like a dog, and they're used that way too.
have you heard of this, Irene?
Well, hmm? A dog might be the crimson bones looking like. Oh, I don't know about that one.
We have thousands of cryptids. Remember this?
I don't know about that one. But also we use dragons too. Um, Last year was the year of the dragon, so well, yeah, oh, well, this year was the year of the dragon. So dragons are protection of your house. So you have one on the right side, one on the left side. So you put east facing east and west, so they can protect your home. Mm. So this year is the year of the dragon, so that's why we use dragons a lot. Um, um, it's like all of Asia uses dragons to protect their home. It's very important. Certain animals are very important to protect people's houses. There's a celebration that's going to be coming up, I think on the 25th of September, where you make sticky rice. You bring it out. It's like you bring it out in front of the moon, where the moon can see it, so you can see the rabbits pounding sticky rice on the moon. That's their job in September. It's almost like the harvest moon, how you celebrate the harvest moon, but you see
Right.
the rabbits pounding sticky rice on the moon. So that's another celebration that's coming up this month in September. It's a very important celebration this year. We got really
Yeah,
weird.
the raiju is that it means that means a thunder animal, but it is you. I don't know if you've seen this, Irene, but it's a giant white wolf with some blue on it.
Ooh, I've seen that. That's one of our cryptids, right?
Yeah,
It's if you watch a lot of manga, they fight evil. They're one of the most important animals around. So it's usually one's white, one's blue. The white one is pure and and fights evil. The blue one, I don't remember. And there's a red one too. The blue and white and red. So the white one has a really significant role in protecting against evil, and they fight against evil forces and bad energy. They all work together to fight evil in the spirit world. And they almost look like a wolf, a coyote, white coyote, a white wolf, and they fly in the air. They have long, fuzzy tails, and that's what they do. Um, they use ball of lightning, um, ball of energy to strike back at evil. That's what their role is about.
yeah, the blue one.
Yeah. Um, what is your most memorable part in the paranormal?
I would say the stuff that I learned from my mentor that was the Reiki master, all the stuff she's taught me,
Mm-hmm.
and the stuff that I'm learning from my shaman teachers as well, to respect everything and how to use the energy within you to take care of things instead of doing it forcefully. You can
Mm-hmm.
use nature and help take it away as well. So, I mean, I've learned a lot of things from both the Reiki master that was my mentor and the shaman teacher I have now. That the knowledge that I've learned from both of them is really well, and how to take care of things better than I used to. So that's a lot better than that. And like I said, never provoke a spirit to begin with because you don't want to
Yeah.
rile it up to begin with.
No. What would be your bucket list place to go to in the world?
I would like to go to Egypt. I would like
Yeah.
to go to the pyramids.
Yeah. I think
I have links to the Egyptians and the Egyptian times, so that's why I'd be curious to go there.
wouldn't that be fantastic to be able to speak to one of the pharaohs and find out what their life was and what they really saw? It would be something fantastic to hear. I'd love to communicate with one of the pharaohs and you know.
One of the good things when I was going through my Menaki rites, I actually got to talk to one of my spirit guides and guardians,
Hmm.
and it's from Egyptian time. And I
Hmm.
was standing in the back behind the pyramids with him during
Hmm.
this time, and it was showing how the pyramids were actually made. And the weird thing was, the rocks were levitating. They were using crystals and energy waves to pick them up. It wasn't like what we've been told.
Hmm.
And my guardian actually leaned over and looked at me and grabbed me by the arm. And he says, "Family." So I thought that was interesting as well, because he's taught me quite a few things that if you listen, you will learn. And if you don't listen, it'll pass you by.
Do you think it has something to do with aliens and outer space, or do you think it's just something else?
I believe there's a higher power. Um, I don't believe the way things are according to certain books. I'll leave it at that
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not going to upset certain people because I know everybody's got their own religion and that's fine too.
Yeah.
But I do believe there is a higher power. I believe that we were put here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes I think the way that we were put here, I think we were more experiments than anything.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm. I, you know,
The
because
worst
on
part
a.
is, the worst part is, I feel like the more technology that we're given, like we were evolving as humankind, but now for some odd reason, and I'm not saying this for all the younger generation. Clearly, there's also smarter generation, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like now with the younger generations, there's mentally we're kind of
Mm-hmm.
de-evolving, or however you want to say it. Especially because I'm like, look, we now have to get permission to buy Tide Pods from the store.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Tide Pod challenge. That's the best. That's the best example I can put out there, and people are just like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "The Tide Pod challenge."
Right.
Yeah.
We now have to tell younger people, "Don't drink detergent. Don't eat detergent."
Yeah. It, it,
I mean,
it,
it's totally different. I mean, if you could think back during my generation compared to your generation, um, we didn't do stuff like that.
nope. Nope.
We went
Now they
out.
have to literally lock up Tide Pods, and you have to get an associate to go get it for you. Some places say that you can't just carry around a Tide Pod with you in your cart. They put it up. to bring it up front to purchase it in some places. So you have to go with them to the front to purchase it. And I'm like, this is too much. It's detergent. I should just be able to do detergent.
Yeah.
Buy
Yeah.
detergent.
Yeah. I mean,
Probably could be the drugs. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we never did that when we were young. We were outside all day and all until the sun went down, right? We played on the monkey bars, we played on the swings, we played at everything, right? Yeah. Like we didn't care. Like we there was anything that in this world we didn't have technology that we didn't have iPhones, we didn't have anything. We had the flip phones, right? And yeah, like it was yeah. We didn't stay at home and play games all day. We didn't do that. We were outside till the sundown, right? Till 6 o'clock at night, as long as we could stay outside.
I remember days I'd get up on a Saturday morning. Me and my friends would get on the four wheelers and we'd have a tank of gas apiece, and we would all take off riding with our girlfriends or our friends, and
Yeah.
we'd be gone the whole dang day. We'd be out by the
Yeah.
creeks, out by the riding around and everything else, and be gone the whole day. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and now you're able in the United States in some places, we used to get chased by the cops for driving four wheelers and three wheelers on the roads, and now
Yeah.
they get to drive them legally on the roads. We were the rebels back then,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and now we just kind of laugh. It's like, if it wasn't for us back then, you guys wouldn't have those doing today,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Back in the
And
day when sticks was your toy back out there.
yeah.
Now it's one of those things you can't get people to go outside, and
No.
colleges are now considering. No, colleges have now put in there. They actually say that they're athletes, and they claim that they're athletes. They have esports teams where all they do is play video games
Mm-hmm.
literally all day,
Yeah.
but they're considered, because it's esport, they're considered athlete, and that's their training. Play video games, go to tournaments,
actually,
play video games.
actually, my youngest daughter went to a place to play soccer for college, and she couldn't get a grant or a scholarship to play soccer. And this is what really ticked me off. And she was really good. She went, even though she was a freshman in college, she actually didn't start. But when she got on the field, she played quite a bit.
Mm.
But one thing I learned, we walked past a couple dorms when I was with her one day.
Mm-hmm.
They have a room full of video game stuff, like you said, esports. Those guys get scholarships for that shit.
They do. Their
Yeah.
college is paid for,
And they're
and
sitting on their ass.
Playing this computer game, right?
Yeah, they're considered athletes, so they're getting the athletic scholarship. Their
Okay,
colleges are paid for through that
so
scholarship.
so then I got to turn around and look at this again. Where'd our scholarships go? Because when in the 80s, when all these video games come out, we were the ones playing them. We were also the ones out in the field all the time, playing all the time too. We did it all,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. But yeah,
The equipment they sponsor for them definitely costs more than the actual athletic gear for other sports.
well, no doubt, no doubt. Some of the rigs I seen in that lab, my God, it'd probably cost $20,000 just for one of the setups there.
I've seen
Darn.
the headsets, and I'm like, I'm gonna look up this headset because they're saying it's a good headset, and it was like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And I'm like, yeah, no. How are college kids getting these? But yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's sponsored by the college, so they go out and buy them the best gear. And I don't know why they assume buying them the top of the line gear means that they're gonna play better.
right. But
I,
like I said, the people that go out and bust their ass like the athletes, they deserve better.
Yeah.
yeah, that's for sure. Because they practice more. They have to study too, and they have to go out and they have to run around. Yeah, it's no shame, right?
Yeah, but like he's saying, I mean, the people who do the esports who end up on the college teams have a full ride scholarship when compared to his daughter who couldn't even play soccer, doesn't even get a
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
that.
It's just crazy.
And you wonder where is it coming to, right? What happened? But you don't know. You're not gonna change their minds. You're not gonna change their heads because they're gonna think the way they think, and that's it. It's either you take it or leave it. Mind you, I'd rather
Well,
leave
I
it.
mean, if these companies want to pay these people to play the games and
Hmm.
sponsor them, hey,
Hmm.
great. If they're supporting them and etc., that's fine.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, some of these kids just coming off the streets need something to do. They're really good at sports,
Hmm.
and then you're not even sponsoring them or even looking at them. And then some of these ones that's out there now, they get some of these grants. They play
Yeah.
for a couple of years, get involved with the drugs, the alcohol,
Yeah.
and then turn around and just blow it away. So
Yeah.
it's unbelievable on how things are done anymore.
Mm.
I'm not putting down. I'm not putting down esports. So anyone, I'm not saying I'm against esports. Anyone listening out there, that's not what we're saying. We're saying
No.
is it's funny how they even have jerseys and they said it themselves. They're treated just like the athletes, but their
Right.
practice is literally playing a video game, not the actual physical part of the actual being in a sport
Hmm.
or being an athlete.
And see, I look at it this way, I love playing video games. So like I said, don't get me wrong, I like playing video
Yeah,
games.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
not putting them down. I play
But
games myself, so
No.
I'm not putting that
but
down. But
No.
they,
but
if
I
sport,
also when I was in high school, I was in track, I was in
Hmm.
football, I lettered 7 times,
Hmm.
28 medals, 7 letters, 3 state patches. I busted my ass,
Hmm.
doing the stuff that I did. And even when I took martial arts afterwards,
Hmm.
and got my black belt, and I even cage fought, taught
Hmm.
football, coached football afterwards when I was a few years back. So, I mean, I gave back to the community as in the fact of helping the kids because I wanted to make sure they were off the street and had something to do. But, you know, they have nothing to do now. So,
No, they don't. And it's sad because even my children, uh, well, my boys, my oldest son likes to play games when he comes home. My youngest one, yeah, he studies, he goes to school, but I mean, times have changed where kids no longer go outside anymore. Kids no longer have fun. They're just locked in their home, right?
yeah,
And here, it's even worse because kindergarten,
mhm.
you have to learn everything because by the time you get into grade one, you have to know mathematics. You have to know your ABCs. You have to know everything before you hit grade one. And you're no longer a kid anymore, right? So
right,
these kids are locked in their home studying. And my daughter had to do the same thing. She had to go to an extra program in order to get into high school. And she had to quit her 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 s- her favorite pastime was playing badminton in school. So she had to quit 1 day a week to go to cram school and had to study more. And her favorite was playing badminton and doing sports, and she couldn't do that. So she had to give up. She had to give up her Fridays to do that. And it's like almost sad because kids are no longer kids anymore. They look like they haven't had sunlight in several years, so they're kind of like pale white, and they just really, yeah, you're no longer a kid anymore.
mhm,
And it's like that in this country. But if you want to go to school, yeah, that's what you have to do, right? So the only release here is to play video games because nobody goes to the park anymore. The parks are empty. Like I have a big park next to my house. Nobody goes out and plays anymore because they're all stuck in their home studying or going to cram school. They don't play anymore.
The worst part, I mean, I get it during the summer, how hot it is in the summer. You probably can't even touch that equipment without getting a second degree burn at least.
Yeah. But even still, go out and catch bugs or whatever, right?
Mhm.
They
I
don't
will
do
say
that.
that though that the kids here are treated more like young adults, and they do
Hmm.
have more responsibility here because
Hmm.
that's and you see them running their own errands, and that's the one thing that they taught us when we were here. And if you see a kid out and about in town, don't bother them. No, they don't need your help. No, they're not lost. It's what leave them alone because they're used to it. So
Yeah, because kids here, elementary school, they go to school by themselves. They come home by themselves. Junior
Well, so
high, they walk. Junior
like
high, they
we did
walk.
in the 80s, in the 70s.
Yeah, here, junior high, they walk to school as two or three people in a group, and they come home alone. And when you get to high school, it's even worse. You take the train, take the bus, take the train. You go to school, and you come home about really late. Sometimes you don't come home till about 9, 10 o'clock in the evening, right? So yeah, it's been a long day here, right, Amanda?
yeah. From my also understanding, Japanese schools don't have a janitor. That's
No,
because the students are taught to clean everything.
yeah,
Wow.
I mean, which is good because that's also where they get in the habit of cleaning everything.
yeah. And they have a big, huge kitchen attached to the school where everything's made homemade, from the sauces to everything else. So they get hot meals, and you can't bring any potato chips. You're not allowed to bring any juice. You're not allowed to bring any snacks either, because the school provides a meal and a dessert, but no
They're
junk
more
foods.
nutritious over there than
Yeah,
here than American schools, though.
yeah, no junk foods allowed.
It's also required for them to have a milk with each lunch, and that
Hmm.
was because I mean here, especially the more elderly, you see them more hunched over, and they can't stand fully up. And I know Irene's seen it; she knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
We still see a lot of down here where they're completely hunched over.
yeah.
Nothing. Even if you go to a chiropractor, they can't get them straight, and that's because their bones from the diet back then during the war, their
Hmm.
bones, the diet was not very good, so the bones got extremely weak, and that's why they can no longer support to be able to stand up straight. So then after that, that's when seeing how what happened with everyone not being able to stand. That's
Hmm.
when they decided to make it a rule where every school lunch you have to have a milk and drink it,
Yeah,
so your
yeah,
bones don't get that weak.
yeah. And it's very important to have so many calories, right? You have either fish, vegetables, soup, and milk to go with it every
They're
meal.
definitely more nutritious down here. And
Yeah.
also down here, food in general has less sugar. Even the
Hmm.
baked goods
Yeah.
has less sugar.
Yeah.
They're not as sweet as an American bakery. Or I can't get American kind of cupcake with that taste. It's
No.
completely different because they use less sugar,
Hmm.
but they also use a lot less preservatives.
Yeah. It's and they use a lot of whipping cream too, right? They don't use icy sugar, so
Mhm.
or they don't use buttercream.
No.
Hmm.
It's 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 actually it's more healthier here, right?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
agree.
definitely, like I said, sweets are, I mean, not sweets. Well, yeah, baked goods are definitely a lot less sweet.
Mhm.
And there's times where I'm like, man, I really wish I could go get like an American cupcake, but I can't. I can't. There's not even anything close. So it is what it is.
Hmm.
Huh.
But definitely, we've noticed eating less preservatives, we get sick less. So if we're sick, we're
Yeah.
really sick.
Yeah.
But we get sick less often. So
Yeah. And vegetables here are a lot different, right, Amanda?
fruits and vegetables are treated like a luxury item. That's literally how they explain it to us. It's treated. I wish you could, man. I've been wanting a freaking cupcake, but I can't get a cupcake.
I'll make you some, okay, and I'll send it to you.
They make cupcake holders. We can get that done.
I get cupcake holders. I got that here.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Mm. Yeah, it's a lot different. Life here is a lot different. Um, food treated here is a lot different too. Like we got the regular McDonald's, um, Domino Pizza. What was the other one that we? The other one.
We only have Domino's pizza down here.
Yeah,
It
I
is
know.
also the only food down here that delivers. So if you need anything delivered, unfortunately, Domino's is your only option.
Yeah. Um, what's the other one that's is there? I forgot the other pizza place.
You probably don't have Papa John's up there. Do you have Pizza Hut?
No,
Hmm.
we
I
don't.
don't know what yours would be. We only have Domino's down here.
Yeah, but we got KFC. We
Oh
got
yeah,
Mr.
KFC.
Donuts. Mr. Donuts.
I think
I
I
mean that
counted. I think I counted just in my town alone. The places that you could actually eat was like 142.
Oh dear. For us, how much is it?
we only
Well,
have
here,
Domino's delivers here. Rain apparently up there in Tokyo has Domino's and McDonald's to deliver, and that's it.
And Pizza Hut. That was the other one that I was trying to think of.
I don't. Pizza Hut's going. It's not really much of a thing back in America anymore, from what I remember.
yeah, it's pizza's kind of gone bad. I haven't really ate Pizza Hut pizza in a long time.
Mm,
It used to be the place you go for their lunch buffet, but now, yeah.
mm.
I normally go to the bar not too far from me for pizza because they make really good taco pizza there.
Ooh, that sounds yummy. They just opened up the one Taco Bell, right, Amanda? I haven't seen any more here. I
I
haven't
love
seen.
Vegas. Vegas is fun. Well, Vegas is also one of the only places in the United States where at 3 or 4 in the morning, you could go to a bar and still buy a drink. Everything you, everything else between 2 to 8 a.m. you can't buy alcohol.
Or after 11 o'clock, because then you get a service charge stuck onto everything,
Huh.
Mm. including Denny's. Including Denny's restaurants, they'll stick on a service charge after 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Wendy's here is called First Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
They don't sell Frosties, which makes me
No.
sad, but they do sell beer.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, you might not be able to get that Frosty, but you can still get your Baconator and a beer.
Yeah.
I take a baconator and a beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Is you have that choice. Is you get your Baconator, and you can also buy a beer.
Yeah.
You can't go to Wendy's in the United States and buy a beer. It's not. You can't.
No. A lot of places here they'll serve. They can get alcohol, including every convenience store. You can buy alcohol.
I think that's back in America though too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I prefer beer here than America. I don't know why. It's just
Beer tastes good here in this country, right?
it does.
It's when it's especially just a really hot day. You just think you're melting, and you go inside of a nice air conditioned place. You just want a lager, right? It tastes so good on a hot day.
Hmm.
Dang. Yeah, it's just different in this country. I think it's too hot.
Mhm.
Do you find a certain I'm gonna seasons where most spirits come out?
I would say our busiest time is during the summer and the fall.
Mm. Do you find that because people are more in their homes during that time?
I think it's possibly because of the buildup when they're in their homes over the winter,
Mm-hmm.
and not getting out as much, and everything getting contained in there. But otherwise, summer for us anyway, it's the summer and fall times. But I mean, if we do a residence, we could go out in the middle of the winter too. But we don't do a lot of outdoor investigations in the winter. But like I said, during the summer and the fall times, we're out.
We get, I get, I see more in hurricane season, right? We get
Which is
hurricanes.
spring here.
Yeah,
Spring.
yeah,
Well, you got to
spring.
remember if the hurricane's coming in, that's bringing a lot of energy in there as well.
There's
So,
also like we're in typhoon season now here
Mm-hmm.
in Japan,
Yeah.
and that also every typhoon afterwards, and a lot of taxi drivers can say this. Will even tell you this, where especially where typhoons hit the most, they say after typhoons, there's still ghost cabs
Mm-hmm.
where they'll pick someone up, have a conversation with them to wherever they go, and they turn around for payment. The person like completely vanished.
Yeah.
oh
And
wow,
the seat's all wet, and the seat's all soaking wet, right?
Yeah.
It's I think it creates a lot of energy during a typhoon, and like we can and rainy season too. We can get like rainy season starts in July. It can last up to 2 weeks to a month, and it just rains like buckets and buckets of water. Yeah,
wow.
yeah. It's without the rainy season, summer doesn't come. So yeah, you get one typhoon, and you get the rainy where it just rains every single day, and it's wet. It's just damp. It's humid. It's gross. Actually, you feel like a sponge. So it's just humid, hot, and then after that, then the real heat comes pouring down, right, Amanda?
Mhm.
And you just feel like, ugh, like we can't even do our podcast properly because we're sitting there going,
One of
No, but
my
look,
one of my old workplaces where I used to work, I worked on a machine called a vulcanizer,
mm-hmm.
and it would bake the hose, and it got up to about 210 degrees in that location all the time. So that'll
it
make you.
it gets hot, right?
Yep.
It's not just the hot. I think the humidity hurts, kills you more, so you feel it, and it's just
no, it'll be like high 90s, close to 100. It'd be like 98% humid.
and the air conditioning doesn't work. You said,
Yeah, stand in front of the fan, and they still sweating.
yeah, you still feel. You say, I gotta take a shower. Okay, so you might as well stay in the shower and not come out. It's so bad. Um, in Japan, it's really weird because we get a lot of earthquakes. Okay.
Especially
Um,
in her area in Tokyo.
yeah, mine's
She's on
earthquake.
the
Yeah,
ring of she's on what they call the Ring of Fire.
yeah,
And that's around Mount Fuji.
yeah. It's just crazy, crazy. And after an earthquake, bad one, we get a lot of UFOs floating around in the air. So everyone's going looking at the air. They don't look down below. They don't care about the damage down below. They're just looking in the air. You go, okay, that's weird. Like, yeah. And we have a lot of nuclear power plants because um yeah, the hurricanes, right? And they destroy everything in a hurricane. So that's why we have a little nuclear power plants. But that's when you see. a lot of UFOs floating around the nuclear power plants, and yeah, they don't go away. It's just it's really weird because we get a lot of uh, uh, foreign fishing vessels come up empty, and they're and the police are running. Where the fishing vessels are perfectly in shape, but there's nobody in it. So there's a lot of weird things happening around this country. It's just strange, right?
They have their Japan has their own version of the Bermuda Triangle.
Hmm.
That's where that's happening the most.
It's just crazy weird. So sometimes you watch the news, they say, "Oh, another entry fishing vessels." Right? Yeah, they come from sometimes Southeast Asia around this, and it's just really unusual stuff that happens around here. Um, w- when you're doing something paranormal, you have to be very careful and choose wisely what you're going to investigate, right? And make sure you can live tomorrow because some of the places you don't want to go there. And I wouldn't go there even if I had even if I was paid $1 million, I wouldn't go. It's just, yeah, you pick and choose. And the
Well,
spirits
in
that you,
Irene area up there in Tokyo, they have more of the suicidal spirits
hmm
that want you to kind of join them. So that's why you don't want to mess with them because their
yeah, you
purpose
just,
for whatever they stuck around for is to bring people down with them.
yeah, they'll take you with them. Certain, certain, paranormal places, certain haunted places are like that too in this country. So you don't want to go there. There are certain videos that are floating around on YouTube you don't want to watch because they're kind of dangerous. So I usually don't post them in groups, and I just leave it there. I don't know why people put them on YouTube. I just don't understand that, right? I don't. Anyways, that's another story, but it's really weird because certain things are very dangerous in this country. Certain places are dangerous too, that you don't want to go there after 9 o'clock at night because they will not find you. You will not be found the next day. So they lock it up at nighttime. At 9 o'clock is the last time that, and nobody goes around. Not even the homeless goes in that area either. So it's it's um
Is that
it's
one of the
people.
places they call the forest?
No, the forest you can go there. That's not the one of the places. There are places that are parks, right, Amanda? That you can't go after 9 o'clock. There's another park that's near the haunted area that I was talking about. That after World War II, a lot of soldiers died crawling up from the ocean, and that park is extremely haunted. So you elders will tell you never to go there at nighttime. If you do, you'll never be found the next day. I mean, there won't be a body, there won't be anything, there won't be any sign that you were there. So there's a lot of places like that. The suicide forest, you can go there. It's just that you don't want to go inside because they'll take you with you and you will never find your way out.
Wow.
Now, I knew someone who went to a suicide forest. Him and a group of people drove hours to go there, and he himself he's not sensitive at all. He said as soon as he stepped into that forest, he heard a light humming noise. No one else heard it, so they just continued walking. And he said after 20 minutes, he couldn't take it because the humming noise got louder and louder to the point where
Mhm.
he's like, I can't be in here. He made everyone turn around and get out of the forest. Even they were confused because they were like, you're the one who wanted to drive hours to this place. 20 minutes later, you only want to leave. He's like, I'm hearing humming, and it's getting
Mhm.
it's getting louder and louder. So I'm like, no, I just want out. It freaked him out.
Yeah. Um, inside the suicide forest, like a man, like my man and I will tell you, there's no wildlife. There's no bugs. There's no birds. There's no snakes. There's nothing.
The one part of it, yes.
Yeah.
I have
It's
seen videos though of other locals. They have posted. Here's the thing about the suicide
yeah.
forest. It's interesting to me.
Yeah. The trees are twisted. It's it's
Some
it's
trees do end up twisted to where they don't grow straight up. They just kind of grow in weird directions, twisted
yeah.
directions. Even science is like, I don't know why it's not growing straight up.
Yeah.
But it's
And
not the whole forest that's like
no,
that. And there is, I've seen videos of locals posted where they're just like, yeah, there's that part of the forest you don't want to go into, but this part of the forest, it's the vibe is completely the opposite. Where they're
yeah,
like, this is the most peaceful place you can be, is this part of the forest.
yeah,
Where it's the exact opposite. Here, birds chirping, everything is nice and cheery. You feel just at peace there. Just the
yeah,
most peaceful tranquility place you could go to. And but the locals also know that are used to hiking it. Once you get to this point, it breaks off into like a T, and they know you don't go to the left, you stay to the right, because you go to the left, that's going to the bad area of the forest you don't want to be in. Stay to the right, you're staying in a better place. So it is completely two different things in the forest.
yeah. And that forest is under Mount Fuji, and Mount Fuji has it's just charged. The whole area is charged. They have 5 lakes underneath the Mount Fuji. It's the water's dark. It's black. It's creepy. You can hear pin drop in that area. I've been there. I don't like it. I said, okay, we're time to go. Bye. Like, yeah. And Mount Fuji itself is haunted too. So, um, long time ago, scientists used to measure. It's a live volcano. Okay, scientists used to measure the volcanic action in the lava in the volcano. So they climb the volcano and they go into the center and they measure it, and they take samples, core samples, and some of them have died. So going up or going in or coming down. So that whole area is haunted, right? So um yeah, it's a well-known place, and it's beautiful to look at, but it's also creepy. And it's funny because going to that road is a whole bunch of haunted areas going up to Mount Fuji. It's the same one road going into the mountainous area, and there's so many haunted places heading up to there. You'll find uh a shogun's burial plot is in that area. You'll find lots of haunted places in that area. So it's just like one road, and it just leads up to that one, and the end is Mount Fuji, and it leads up to there, and it's just it can be creepy when you think about it, but if you don't think about it, you don't notice. But when you travel there, you can feel it. You can feel the energy, and it's just something different. It's something that if you have never done it, you have to do it once in a lifetime, right? But
Cool.
it's it's just strange. And there's also a suicide waterfall. I will say Keontucky is the name of the waterfall. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. You can go up. Take um you can take a bus tour, or you can you can walk and take the elevator up to the waterfall. It's just gorgeous when you look at it, but it's also haunted too. Um, when Japan lost the war, a lot of people decided that they don't want to be governed by another country. So a lot of people, older people, have climbed the waterfall and have plunged to their death in the waterfall. So even the pictures off of Google, you could see the energy, you could see the people jumping off. Yeah, you can't do that anymore because they blocked it off. They put nets, they put barriers there. But yeah, it's just one of the places they're going right straight up to Mount Fuji to there.
Mount
It's
Fuji has made a lot of visitors into believers because a lot of people will be like, you go to Mount Fuji and they rented a hotel room that had the Mount Fuji view, and a lot of them have ghost stories just being near it.
yeah.
They're like, yeah, we're kind of across the street. We could have a nice view of it. That's what we wanted. That hotel
Mm-hmm.
for the nice view. Made sure we paid for the Mount Fuji view, and there's just a lot of people leave with ghost stories from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And they're just like, yeah, I'm not. A lot of them are like, I'm not sensitive, so it's not one of those things where, oh, I'm a sensitive, so I saw something. Like, I'm not sensitive. I didn't believe in paranormal,
Yeah.
but now after Mount Fuji, I'm a believer.
Yeah. And it is one of the haunted volcanoes, right? So, dang, my battery's gone down. Every time we talk paranormal, it drains my battery.
Computer gremlins at their best.
Oh, tell me about it, right? And sometimes I can't even plug in my phone. Sometimes it won't work. And he say, "Leave my phone alone. Leave my electronics alone, please." It's just one of those weird things when we talk about this, right? Oh dear, that's nothing new.
Heck, I was on a podcast last night, and right toward the end, my power just went out.
Mm,
It just
That happened to someone else on this podcast where out of nowhere we couldn't. They were in there and we started. A few minutes later, they're gone, and we couldn't get hold of them. Then finally, after a couple of minutes, they're able to message me on Facebook, and they're just like, "Yeah, I lost complete power."
yeah, it just completely blacked out. The last 5 minutes of my show last night just completely blacked out. I was sitting here where I'm at now, and all of a sudden, just the power went out. But the funny thing about it, when the router went out, my stream kept going for 3 more minutes.
oh, that's weird, right?
And then all of a sudden it just cut out. And I was like, what the hell? And then I just realized,
Yeah.
okay, look outside and everybody's out of power too, so.
If I talk about certain subjects, I get kicked out of the podcast. I have to come back in again. It's just nothing unusual, right? I get kicked out so many times you won't believe it. Sometimes I can't get back in again. It depends on the subject, right, Amanda? What we talk about, and how deep we talk about it. If we talk about it too deep, I get kicked out. I said, yeah, I can't get back in again, so I'm gonna end it now. He goes, okay, we're gonna end this podcast.
Yeah, I know Facebook and YouTube are kind of bad at that once in a while, but I get an opportunity. Me and 11 other people are going to a channel. So we are going to channel 12 and by October. So
Oh, that sounds
There's other
interesting.
people last night who said for some odd reason Facebook only aired 30 some seconds of their podcast, and then just what went out.
well, they are actually limiting 10 people to a room now, which
Huh?
is not right. So if you got 3 pages, that's 30 people. That's all you can have.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And it depends on subject matter too. They'll kick you out too, right?
Yes and no.
Mm,
Like I said, I'm kind of getting fed up with some of the stuff that's getting going on right now because I've actually seen numbers change
mm-hmm.
from the count that is there, and then all of a sudden the counts change, and I actually recorded that when somebody else was showing that to me. So it's
Mm,
like regulating everything, and that's not right. We should have freedom of speech no matter where we're at.
exactly.
I don't know who is putting people in jail, but one time this podcast was put into Facebook jail, and the reason why is so we had a Bigfoot researchers, and we put in there, Sasquatch, and for some odd reason, Facebook came back and they're just like, Sasquatch is offensive. I'm like, what do you mean? Who decided this?
You were thrown in jail because of that too, remember?
Yeah,
I got
which is I got a notification that says that we're putting your podcast is in jail for a week due to it being offensive, and it said it was Sasquatch. So I'm like, what? How is Sasquatch offensive? Who's deciding this?
Yeah, I was actually on Randy Stewart's show, Body Slamming Conversation. He's one of my sponsors for the show. And there was like 10 people in his room, plus all those 10 people broadcasted out, plus et cetera, et cetera. We actually shut down Facebook and YouTube. He got notifications that we bogged him down. Yep, we bogged him down.
That's unbelievable. But
So that's also why I don't make links ahead of time. Because I know guests are like, why don't you make the link ahead of time before we're about to go live? And I'm like, because I've seen there was points in time where if you set up a link beforehand to go there, for some odd reason, you press go live and it would not go live.
Yeah.
I always make mine a little bit before the show as well.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's working right and stuff like that. But yeah,
but if you do it beforehand, for some odd reason, Facebook will be like, you can't go live anymore. And I'm like, this is why I don't do it, because I want to be able to go live. And there was multiple people saying, yeah, I made this link a couple days before, and now it's saying I can't go live. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know why, if you make a link ahead of time, it's going to be hit and miss if they let you go live. I'm like, that's
I think
stupid.
that's why a lot of people are discouraged about using Facebook now. But I mean, I don't see any other place that we can go to, right?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not going to deal with them much longer in some aspects because, like I said, I'm moving to a new location here by the end of the month, and hopefully that'll benefit a lot of us better in some ways. But yeah, I don't believe in this regulation of talking of what you can talk and what you can't. And hell, I got thrown in Facebook jail for congratulating somebody. Yeah. It said that was wrong, that I congratulated somebody, and I got thrown in Facebook jail for a whole day for that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
I got put in Facebook jail because I posted on someone's post. I put stealing this, and they put me in Facebook jail, and they're just like, we don't condone violence. So I'm like, what?
Or you have to say the word unalive because you can't say the S word, because they'll throw you in jail.
There's no we still do, just because it's harder to say, and I read less every time I say this. When we were talking about that one forest, yeah, she knows about to say it. When I like, if I have to say it social media friendly, then it's the unalived forest.
Right.
Which just sounds ridiculous.
It sounds so stupid, right? Oh well.
I'm like, look, that's what the forest is called. That's what it is. A lot of people go there for that reason. We're not saying that we support unaliving yourself. It's a forest. We can't help there's a forest.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah,
we also are not going to be the ones out there who's going to change this forest.
No. I mean, yeah, it's I don't know, it's gone a little bit haywire. I don't know if there's any other place that we can go to, right? Facebook is the only place that I've seen where we can go to, and yeah, we met through Facebook, so I don't know.
Yeah, Randy's pretty no holds barred on his show, so.
I don't know.
We have to for social media, just because, like I said, we're supposed to be saying it on live, but I'm like, I'm not. It's so weird to say on live forest.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I can't understand that either. Oh well.
So Randy, I'm not here because my husband
Wait,
is in the
okay.
Navy.
Turning that
So
off.
right outside my window is actually the bay where you can see where all the ships are.
That
Cool.
bay is haunted, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, I've showed you pictures, Irene, where I've seen stuff.
Yeah. That's really weird. I've seen that lady too, where she comes and goes. She has her own little portal there too.
He does. He definitely has Bigfoot to hookers on his show.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he's pretty no holds barred on there.
Mm.
Me and him will have a new show coming out called Insanity Overdrive. So
Ooh, that sounds interesting. What's it about?
it's where we can have anybody and anybody on there from like paranormal to singers to anything. It's like if you want to believe it, it's your choice. If not, you don't.
Mm.
Yeah, that's how we are.
Yeah. Um, when does it air?
Hopefully sometime in October. We're working on it now. We got some of the stuff done for it, and like I said, we're in the process. I'm in the process of moving over to Channel 12, along with Body Slamming Conversations and Tracy Jones Paranormal White Witch. So
Mm-hmm.
we're all in the process of moving over to a TV channel.
Well, that sounds interesting.
We're gonna have to look you up, Randy, and see your channel 12.
Yeah,
Yep.
it'll
Like
be
I,
Definitely have
interesting.
to.
like I said, Randy's one of the sponsors to my show. So
That'll be interesting. What is your plans for later on, or do you have anything lined up aside from what we talked about?
I just want to learn more. I guess I'm looking for what everybody else is as well, just to understand what's going on in the paranormal field, to help people understand what's going on, and, you know, just
Oh.
be me.
So is that if they wanted to find the channel 12, is that a website?
Actually, Randy would probably have that information because we haven't got it all done yet. He just sent out some stuff tonight, so it'll be in the works. We'll put it on our pages where everybody can find it at as soon as we get it all ready to go.
That'd be interesting.
It'll be from anybody from paranormal to Bigfoot to body slamming conversations, travel people doing travel stuff, and Tracy the Paranormal White Witch will also be there.
Nice.
So
Have you ever had an experience in a paranormal that maybe was too scary for you? Is there a location you're just like, this is too intense, I want to go back?
not so far, not yet, not yet.
Ooh. Have you ever found that you can't do something that you have to call reinforcements?
Not yet so far, no. But I do have people. If I need them, I can call. I do have backup people I can call that would help me out, from demonologists to shamans that are higher up than the level than I am, and Reiki masters as well. That'll help me if I need it. But yeah, I do have access to other people if I do need it.
I wish
Mm.
we had people out here, but we don't. Like as we were saying before, I mean, if you have a haunting, you're pretty much on your own here.
Yeah.
I don't even know if monks would help you.
Nope.
Wow, that's kind of shocking.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know there's a lot of
Nope.
Buddhist temples out here, but
Yeah. And I've reached out
They
everywhere.
they have a very high energy in themselves. I mean, they'd be very capable of helping anybody in need.
Unless you pay them, they won't come out.
Okay.
It's like even I tried paranormal groups. I haven't reached out to anybody who could help us. Cause there's one thing that I will say that you can get is you can get really sick. They'll make you physically sick. Like you'd be running to the hospital, and the doctor will say, "There's, I don't know, there's nothing there." Like you wouldn't be sick when you get there, but you'd have symptoms before you go there, and when you come home, you're all clear, and there's no reason why you're sick, right?
Right.
But yeah, they have a tendency to make you really sick, and even my son went to the hospital because he had a collapsed lung, and the doctor asked, "Do you smoke?" "Nope." "Do you drink?" "Nope." Like they don't know what happened to him, but he
Wow.
was hospitalized and he got better. But yeah, I mean, the doctor was doing this to his head, and yeah, we don't know, but we're just trying to get better, and it's been a long journey because they will turn around and make you really sick, and they will turn around even unalive you if you're not, well, kill you. Okay, we're not gonna kill you. I'll say kill. They'll turn around and kill you too. So you have to be really, really vigilant, and no matter how strong you are, they don't care. They don't care. I
Hmm.
mean, I've seen them go after my neighbor who was really good friends with my children. Her husband died. He had brain cancer. There's no reason why he'd be sick. He was a healthy man, right? He was a young, healthy man. And yeah, they killed him. They killed the lady on the first floor. She had a heart attack. There's another guy that I know. He had heart problems and he couldn't even walk. He was green in the face, and it was coming after him too. So it's just one of those places that are dangerous, right?
Hmm.
And I couldn't find out any information of the property. I couldn't find out any information from even real estate agent. I don't know. I'm like, it's it's not a rent place. It's like you buy to own. So yeah, nobody knew. Nobody knew anything. Nobody knew anything, and you just don't know. And nobody would tell you anything, right, Amanda? Like you can't find any information about any place, even
we
if
don't
it's
have
so.
vital records here. You can't go to the library and look up and research a location. It's all word of mouth.
Yeah,
We've had
Wow.
professional research teams for TV
no,
shows who wanted to come to Japan but couldn't because one of their criteria is they had to have the vital records on the location to verify things that happen. They don't want to do word of mouth and not reach out to us like, well, our teams can't find anything. Do you have any other resources? And I'm just like, you can't find it because they don't exist. If no
yeah.
one's keeping them from you, they don't exist.
Wow.
And if they did, they probably shredded it, right? Or they got rid of it. And the only way that you'll know or you can find out any information is finding out from an old person that lived in the area. Like you got to be 80 years older, 80 years or older. They'll tell you stories, and the stories most likely are partly true, right? So yeah, you'd have to find out from an old person who lived in an area, or a person like your mother or your grandmother or your grandfather, or somebody who knows a lot about the history of the certain places. Like certain places I've learned from my mother. Like she told me a lot of urban legends and old stories, but you know what? 90% of them are true, and they did happen, and that's why it's haunted to this day. But yeah, finding any information, good luck, because you'll never find it. It's just one of those things. And they did create a book that I have that has a lot of places of the urban legends places, but it only goes so far in talking about it. It's not going to go into deep um um nitty gritty about certain places in this country, and there's a lot of places that you don't want to go, just because if you're a man, you don't want to go, right?
Wow.
Because a lot of spirits are mostly female, and they'll say, "Come here, come here, come here," and they say, "Do yeah, do I look beautiful?" And they say, you have to say yes. If you don't say yes, yeah,
So they're kind of like
We
succubuses.
yeah,
we
yeah.
do have a lot of spirits here in Japan that are spirits because they unalive themselves, and as what a lot of people don't realize with Japan is obviously Japan being mostly a Buddhist country. If you don't know,
Mhm,
Buddhism believes that if you're not happy in this life, you can unalive yourself to start again in the next life,
Hmm.
So you
which
can,
obviously leads to a lot of suicide, unalived
yeah,
spirits.
it's
Wow.
you can it will you can redeem yourself and have a better life in the next life than you do in the first life. That's what they believe in.
Well,
So,
that's kind of interesting because I've done some research on some stuff too. That is the fact that there was probably more than one god that was on this earth at one time to begin with,
Hmm.
and each god had its own rules. And I
mhm,
think we're all marked to our own god by our skin color and
mm,
etc. to begin with. So that would kind of make sense if a certain god would believe in that, that you're allowed to do that when other gods would not believe in it. So,
mhm.
like I said, it all depends on your religion and who you follow, I guess.
Yeah,
There's
that's
a
that is the Buddhist religion. There's not a lot of people. I mean, in my area, with if you need mental health, there's no psychiatrist here to go see, and that's one thing they did when you come out here. That is one part of the overseas screening is make sure you're mentally able to handle being over here because you're not able. If you need help, you're really not going to get it. Irene in Tokyo said she might have a couple up there around her,
Hmm.
but
mhm,
down here you
Well,
don't have any of
yeah,
that. There's also if you need medication for anything for your mental health, including like ADHD medicine, you're not going to get it here.
oh
wow.
yeah, it's
For some odd reason, they also I don't know why ADHD medicine is not even legal to have here.
no, neither is weed or anything else like that either. That's not even that's not even legal either.
I was like, don't ask me why. That's the one thing they said is it's illegal to have that here because they also say that when you is make sure because if TSA finds it, it's going to be confiscated as illegal drugs.
Oh, and you'd be deported really quickly on the next airplane. Yeah,
I don't know if
Yeah.
you can deport it, but they said they will at least confiscate it and treat it like illegal drugs. It's not allowed to be here. So
no,
possibly, I don't. That's all they said.
yeah,
Wow.
it's one of the most strictest countries. That Singapore, I think, is another one that's really strict too. They really screen people.
Singapore has
Especially,
some of the strictest religion or not religions
yeah,
policies. I'd be afraid to go there. Apparently, it's
mm,
illegal to chew gum or something there.
no, because they used to have a lot of people that chewed gum and they made a mess of the country because they have to scrape it off the sidewalks, and so that's why it's illegal to have gum in that country.
Wow.
Because they had to clean it off the sidewalks and everywhere else and off the chairs, and it was like it was Yeah, they created a lot of mess. That's why you can't have gum in the country. I kind of like understand that because it's gross trying to scrape off somebody's gum that somebody spit it out or put it on a chair. Yuck. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Um,
That'd be chewing on tree sap, though.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd
Um,
be afraid to go to Singapore.
oh, I'd go. Um, eh, I forgot what I was gonna say, Amanda. Gee,
It
darn it,
happens.
darn it, darn it, darn it. Oh well. Amanda, it's 2:20. You want to
Or
close
I'm
it
sure
down?
it is getting late for you over there, Sean, too. Sean, you're
Yeah,
always welcome to come back on the show for part 2, part 3, whatever you want to do if you want to in the future.
yeah, that's fun.
Come, come back and talk about where you've been, right? So
Oh,
we,
yeah, definitely. We want to hear about that.
yeah, we want to hear. Okay.
We love
Oh,
hearing about people's investigations because, like we said, we can't book investigations here. So,
No.
like, we live through other people's investigations, hear about them.
actually, if you scroll through my Facebook page on our team page, you'll see some of our live investigations that we've had. If you go down far enough where they're marked, you can actually watch the live investigations that we did have.
We'll definitely have to take a look at that. But thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me on. We'll
Everyone else out?
we'll definitely do it again.
Oh, I hope
Th-
so. We enjoyed having you on.
Thank you, everybody, for watching the show.
All right, everyone out there, thank you for watching. Bye for now.
Bye.
One.